Fans were shocked when Pawn Stars star Chumlee fainted in court after his punishment. This tragic tragedy shook the Pawn Stars community and raised questions about Chumlee's issues. We'll relive those emotional courtroom scenes and examine Chumlee's life since Pawn Stars in today's film. This film explores Chumlee's punishment, its causes and his major changes throughout the years. Follow us as we uncover compelling stories, hidden secrets and Chumlee's unique difficulties. You won't want to miss next. To remain updated on our next videos, like, share and subscribe if you're interested. Pawn Stars star Austin Chumlee Russell is beloved among TV viewers. For over a decade, Chumlee has charmed millions with his wit, humility, and uniqueness. After becoming a fan favorite, he ran into legal issues, starting a new and difficult chapter in his life. Chumlee gained famous for his wit, humor, and collecting skills on Pawn Stars. His audacious purchase of a professional pinball machine stunned his squad and supporters. Beyond his store clown character, Chumlee quietly became a renowned collectibles industry personality, gaining the respect of colleagues and spectators. Chumlee's economic success complements his TV celebrity. With apparel lines, a confectionery company, and live chat programs, Chumlee has made millions, which aided him through unforeseen legal challenges. Despite his success, personal issues caught up with him, showing that even the greatest stars struggle. Chumlee's career changed when Pawn Stars became global. Despite his celebrity and prosperity, he fought a hidden inner fight. Chumlee said that fame makes you feel indestructible, but he simply wanted tranquility. Personal concerns, stress, and unexpected legal issues hit him hard. Success could not have prepared him for this. Chumlee had his darkest moment in court. While reading the verdict, the judge seemed tense. Chumlee collapsed and thought deeply after hearing the announcement. Disbelief filled the courtroom after the incident. This thrilling conflict between a beloved star and the court system, with surprising new facts, will keep you captivated. Chumlee has maintained fan support despite many obstacles. His sincerity and uniqueness have bonded his fans. Although he appears less often, Chumlee is still an important part of Pawn Stars, and his tale of following one's interests, overcoming challenges, and navigating life's hardest situations will go on. Chumlee-born Austin Russell became famous on Pawn Stars for his wit and friendliness. His life changed when Chumlee became famous and the show became popular. After starting in a pawn shop, Chumlee now owns costly sports vehicles, a home, and an impressive collection of footwear and jewelry. His lavish shopping sprees and raucous parties, often posted on social media, swiftly garnered millions of views, contrasting his poor roots with his opulent lifestyle. Chumlee got recognized for Pawn Stars and his unique brand. He built a Las Vegas Chumlee candy business and released behind-the-scenes goods that customers loved. Fame presented its own obstacles. He felt compelled to maintain a public image while managing his personal life. Fame makes you believe you're invincible, but I simply want a regular existence, said Chumlee. Chumlee's life changed in March 2016 when police raided his Las Vegas house for sexual assault evidence. The public was shocked by more than the investigation. Authorities found it during the hunt. Weapons and illicit drugs were found, making social media headlines. This finding changed many's opinion of the cherished TV personality. Chumlee seemed happy and carefree on Pawn Stars, but his true life was otherwise. A fan surprised the audience by saying Chumlee is always joyful on TV, but a different person in real life. Fans were shocked by this striking difference between his on-screen and off-screen character, generating worry about Chumlee and Pawn Stars' futures. The search resulted in criminal charges against Chumlee for guns and narcotics possession, which may have serious ramifications. A conviction could land him in prison for 20 years. These allegations threatened Chumlee's years-long public image beyond legal issues. Fandom was shaken by the case, leaving many wondering if the TV star could conquer this tremendous struggle and restart his life. Chumlee's life has sparked doubts regarding his and Pawn Stars' futures. A renowned TV celebrity faced legal and personal issues, making this story shocking. Chumlee is still loved by fans, but his career may be threatened by these challenges. Pawn Stars star Austin Chumlee Russell had his lowest moment as his career was threatened. Chumlee, known for his comedic TV appearances, faces serious claims that might destroy his years-long image. A sexual assault investigation led officials to examine Chumlee's Las Vegas home in March 2016. Public focus wasn't on the probe. Officers discovered it inside, a cache of weapons, drugs, and accessories. The finding went viral on social media, forcing many to question Chumlee's TV character against his real existence. Chumlee's tale highlights the dangers and temptations of drug usage and its unanticipated effects for celebrities. Your opinions on this situation? Comment your thoughts. If you disagree, let us know. Want to hear another story? Just ask. Chumlee's reputation changed dramatically owing to the legal claims and the glaring contrast between his charming Pawn Star's attitude and his real-life actions. A harsh reality hit the public. Chumlee wasn't always the friendly TV figure. Numerous social media posts, interviews, and case discussions made many fans re-evaluate their perspective of this cherished TV personality. The trial prosecutor highlighted the guns and controlled drugs found during the police search to emphasize the case. Chumlee was accused of having guns and narcotics which were dangerous. Legal experts say he may be imprisoned for 20 years if convicted. Chumlee's counsel said he had no criminal past and no desire to damage. The situation is critical. Plea discussions increased tensions during the trial, threatening Chumlee's job and freedom. The attorneys meticulously considered every conceivable result during their lengthy debate. If convicted, Chumlee's lengthy and lucrative entertainment career might be ruined. Pawn Stars, a reality show with millions of viewers, has shaped Chumlee's career. Fans loved him for his friendliness and humor. The truth behind his outward persona has disappointed his admirers. Chumlee's life and profession are at a crossroads due to personal and legal issues. This case goes beyond law. It shows how delicate public image is, and how the truth behind the screen is frequently veiled. Chumlee illustrates how swiftly TV stars' personal lives and jobs may change, revealing that celebrity doesn't always protect them. Chumlee and Pawn Star's futures are uncertain, as the audience waits to see if he can overcome this difficulty. On the final day of the trial, supporters wearing Pawn Star's shirts and brandishing Chumlee banners flooded the courtroom. Due to public interest in the case, the mood was tight and exciting. The atmosphere was tense as Chumlee stood at the defendant's podium, preparing for the judgment, before Judge Michael Davidson sentenced him. Every sound was exaggerated, from the court clerk's papers rustling to the crowd's whispers. Chumlee agreed to plead guilty to one guns charge and a controlled drugs charge, while other counts were withdrawn. Mitigating considerations and troubling case file actions were thoroughly considered by Judge Davidson. Chumlee admitted guilt, but the judge underlined the risk of unregistered guns and controlled narcotics to the community. The court sentenced Chumlee to 3 years of probation with intense monitoring, counseling, drug testing, and 200 hours of community service. The judge also ordered the permanent forfeiture of all investigation-seized property. The judge was surprised by Chumlee's probation's severe conditions. If violated, a 3-year jail sentence without a retrial would be imposed. "Mr. Russell, I sentence you to 3 years of rigorous probation," the court said. A transgression results in 3 years in prison immediately. After months of upheaval and the fear of a long jail sentence, Chumlee was hit hard by the sentence. Chumlee's emotions, long suppressed, erupted as the judge read the terms. His voice faded as sweat formed on his brow and his thoughts raced through his mind. Chumlee fell in the courtroom instantly. His lawyer tried to soothe him, but it was too late. A former comedian, the reality TV star lay immobile before the crowd. Security arrived soon as his hard breathing filled the room. Rapid medical response was called. One brought water, while another cleaned space. The dramatic scene was captured by photographers, and photographs of Chumlee unconscious in court made entertainment headlines. Chumlee's old buddy Lee, who previously made millions laugh, now watches as his pal suffers the consequences of his past acts. Chumlee's life and career are at a turning point, with numerous questions about Pawn Stars and him. This is a legal shock and a stark reminder of reality TV stars' public and private lives. Austin Chumlee Russell fell in court during a trial on severe charges. Hearing the verdict, the courtroom was tense. After pleading guilty and being sentenced to 3 years of rigorous probation, Chumlee collapsed in court, leaving the courtroom in shock. Entertainment news covered the tragic occasion. After the event, fans and co-workers were worried. In subsequent days, Chumlee's longtime friend and co-star Rick Harrison visited him. Support for Chumlee grew on social media with hashtags such #Chumlee Man and Haggaden Pawn. Chumlee gave a home video statement 3 days later, clearly disturbed. He frankly addressed the incidents and admitted his shortcomings in the video, showing himself as a man facing his weaknesses. Chumlee said in the video that facing my actions' repercussions worries her. I must make better decisions, and the doctor was right. Chumlee's public image changed with these honest admissions. Instead of the carefree, naive persona viewers had seen on film, he was a man trying to redeem himself. Chumlee also said that celebrity and public pressure had impaired his judgment. He made decisions that might cost him everything. Chumlee also said he is recovering and making better life choices. I want to make my show family proud, he said. His comeback to Pawn Stars is uncertain, although the History Channel may allow him to return following his rehabilitation. Chumlee is focusing on court requirements and approved projects for now. Chumlee's career changed and a new chapter began with this change. His narrative inspires us to remember that celebrity doesn't cause mistakes, but how we recover that defines us. Chumlee's comeback will be the result of dedication, honesty, and fan support. The heated circumstances surrounding Chumlee and the court case led to his breakdown following his imprisonment. Shocking and sad, this story highlights the struggles stars confront off film. Chumlee's life has changed and it wasn't always simple. Enjoy this video, like, share, and subscribe to get more inspiring tales. Leave a comment and press the notification bell to receive our latest content. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Today, we're exploring Pawn Stars star Rick Harrison's stunning journey from fame to court confession of his heinous acts. Watch how he went from TV celebrity to murderer. Pawn Stars star Rick Harrison's court admission of illegal activity sparked a stir. He went from Family Guy to infamous criminal, affecting the public's view of him. If this reality shocks you, like and subscribe for more disturbing news. Leave a comment on Rick Harrison and these shocking disclosures. When agents investigated the store's basement, they made substantial progress. Human trafficking took place in the basement, which was previously off-limits. Children were kidnapped and their identities wiped in this covert place by the criminal network. Dark, flickering lights and improvised prisons made the basement a nightmare with the real pawn business above it. After discovering the subterranean jail, the FBI launched a massive investigation. The investigators quickly secured the location and retrieved the youngsters. After a thorough basement investigation, they uncovered more than expected. In addition to human trafficking evidence, they found money records, communication details, and other items that might reveal the criminal network behind it. Documents showed politicians and business owners directly involved in this trafficking enterprise. After further investigation, the FBI recognized this wasn't a small-scale crime, a sophisticated worldwide criminal organization with significant relationships. The FBI had to work with international law enforcement as the probe grew. The FBI collaborated with Mexican, Central American, and Southeast Asian authorities to find the traffickers. Investigators found astonishing things. This group has been smuggling children over borders and selling them to the highest bidder for years. The network went beyond human trafficking. Other illicit operations included selling stolen antiquities, narcotics, and guns. The FBI prioritized finances as the inquiry expanded. They followed money via front corporations, bank accounts, and overseas entities. It was difficult to track the masterminds since the proceeds from antiques and trafficking children were channeled via intricate banking channels. FBI forensic accountants painstakingly tracked money from Harrison's pawn store to the trafficking network. The importance of social media and online platforms in human trafficking was stunning. The network created an underground network where purchasers could exchange infants under legal pretenses. The group went undiscovered because these dark web domains were hard to track. The FBI and cybercrime specialists dismantled this mechanism. Nevertheless, the work was immensely tough. The perpetrators protected their conversations and transactions with advanced encryption and concealing methods. As the investigation proceeded, the FBI arrested important people traffickers. Although important, these arrests showed that the group was far from eradicated. True masterminds were still hiding, running the network in secret. These leaders are still being pursued. But the initial arrests delivered a strong message: this human trafficking network is vulnerable. Justice will prevail. Working with the youngsters rescued from Harrison's pawn store basement was difficult. These youngsters have suffered terrible tragedies and devastating psychological anguish. To assure their care and assistance, the FBI collaborated with social service organizations, psychiatrists, and other professionals. The procedure was lengthy and tough. Due to trauma, many of the youngsters couldn't trust anyone, including their rescuers. The FBI and anti-human trafficking organizations helped the youngsters reconstruct their lives via psychological healing and reintegration. One of the FBI's most difficult and high-profile cases is Rick Harrison's pawn business and its global people trafficking network. This global criminal network was linked to organized crime, corrupt authorities, and influential people. However, the FBI's work continues. More arrests are likely as the probe expands. The FBI's findings shockingly reveal society's hidden threats: publicly running criminal networks prepared to exploit others' weaknesses and misery. The FBI's effort gives hope to victims of this trafficking network, both youngsters rescued and families torn apart by loss. But the road to justice is long, and the entire extent of these crimes is unknown. Like and subscribe for more stunning and unreported information. Share your thoughts in the comments. Turn on alerts to avoid missing great videos. The inquiry into Rick Harrison's pawn store is merely the beginning of a global problem that has been building for years. The FBI knows their mission to deliver justice to victims is far from done. However, one thing is certain: Rick Harrison's pawn business was the criminal organization's cover, and investigators are dismantling it piece by piece. Public astonishment followed the FBI's discovery of an underground jail in Rick Harrison's pawn store basement. It was hard to imagine that the man who had appeared on the History Channel's smash show Pawn Stars for almost a decade could be engaged in such a heinous crime. Television watchers who formerly believed Rick Harrison as a real hard-working businessman who established his profession with charm and determination had to confront the painful truth. Their idol was accused of the worst atrocities. This finding had immediate and significant effects. For people who liked Pawn Stars and Rick Harrison's humble, truthful persona, the world seemed to have turned upside down. It was hard to believe that his pawn store basement harbored almost 300 youngsters, some from Southeast Asia and Central America. How could someone who seemed so trustworthy on TV do such horrible acts? Harrison and his audience lost faith instantly. In the hours and days after the expose, news outlets worldwide quickly reported on the tale, adding alarming details. The media constantly investigated Harrison's history, finances, and international criminal network ties. Harrison lost his affable, trustworthy persona for the first time in years. His reputation was irreparably ruined by the horrible charges against him. Nationwide astonishment followed the media's dramatic reaction. The stark contrast between Harrison on Pawn Stars and the guy accused of running a worldwide human trafficking network challenged people from all backgrounds. Longtime fans of the program were devastated and unable to understand how someone they had seen hundreds of times could be so evil. Astonishment, fury, and betrayal flooded social media. The hashtag #NotMyPawnStar trended for days as many expressed amazement. This occurrence was a terrible wake-up call for some, reminding us that looks may be misleading, and that people we trusted or revered may not be who we thought they were. Many felt tricked, as if Harrison had lied for years. This was especially difficult for longtime show lovers. Rick Harrison, Corey Harrison, and Chumlee were well known to them. Their Las Vegas pawn store was nearly culturally significant. It was hard to believe that a town known for buying and selling valuables could also be home to one of the worst human trafficking networks ever discovered. The people felt betrayed as further information emerged from the probe. Harrison allegedly helped traffic minors through his business for years, according to law police. Despite no direct evidence tying him to kidnappings, the evidence showed he covered up the crimes and laundered money via his firm. Harrison ran a profitable pawn store while secretly committing such a horrific crime, making the reality even more stunning. The public was angry, outraged, and afraid. How did this happen unnoticed? How could someone trusted and depicted as down-to-earth on TV hide such a terrible secret for so long? Many wondered those things as they sought to make sense of the horrible reality. Then many recognized that this wasn't just about one person, but about human trafficking, a hidden problem that society routinely ignores. In the weeks after the news broke, public pressure on authorities increased. Many demanded immediate action. People questioned whether pawn shops were becoming criminal havens and called for tougher rules. After the incident, politicians began to focus on this sector, suggesting stronger rules on enterprises that handle huge quantities of cash and precious products. Some even urged that pawn shops notify all transactions to law authorities to prevent them from being utilized for illicit activity. While handling the problem, Rick Harrison's legal team worked hard. Money laundering, human trafficking, and sale of stolen antiquities were among his significant offenses. He may serve decades in jail if convicted on the charges. The judicial procedure was protracted as detectives gathered evidence and built a case against him. Harrison faced increasing pressure. With each new revelation, his accusations grew. Publicly, the largest uncertainty remained. Could Rick Harrison make amends, an opportunity to rebuild his life? Was his reputation forever tainted by the horrible events in his pawn store basement? Harrison's recovery from the controversy appeared unlikely in the early days. His reputation was irrevocably tarnished, and public faith was nearly wrecked. As the inquiry proceeded, some wondered if Harrison was really involved in the people trafficking organization or just a pawn in a broader criminal plot. Although evidence revealed he helped transport trafficking minors, numerous uncertainties persisted. Did Harrison realize the trafficking ring's scope, or was he unintentionally involved in a conspiracy he didn't understand? He was either a voluntary collaborator or a businessman used by the criminal network. As the case progressed, one thing became evident. This case continued. The discovery of Harrison's pawn shop's subterranean jail started a chain of events that would shock the world for years. The public's outrage was legitimate, but the law would decide if Harrison was guilty. The trafficking ring victims' recuperation had barely begun. Despite many being rescued and receiving care, the probe continued. As the world watched, the fight to destroy the criminal network and bring everyone to justice continued. World awaits solutions. As the inquiry progresses, one thing becomes clearer. This case highlights human trafficking and the global effort to eradicate it, not just one individual's misdeeds. Once an adored TV character, Rick Harrison's tale has darkened. The irreparable injury to hundreds of innocent youngsters may be the most heartbreaking component of his reputation loss. Though heartbreaking, these children's tales are being told. Public outcry, legal processes, and continuous inquiry aim to keep these children in memory and bring justice. After the revelation of Rick Harrison's pawn shop's secret basement, the public turns to his legal struggle. The media and law enforcement have focused on the trial, despite the public's shock at the FBI investigation's awful facts. Rick Harrison's case might shape how authorities approach human trafficking, money laundering, and organized criminal cases in the future. Harrison's legal team has been working hard to build a defense plan that will resist the FBI's enormous evidence in the weeks since the truth was revealed. Harrison has faced significant charges since his arrest. He is accused of aiding an international human trafficking operation that exploited and sold minors. Charges go beyond human trafficking. Harrison faces charges of money laundering, conspiracy, and dealing stolen antiquities. These are heavy charges. He might spend decades in prison, lose his riches, and ruin his character if convicted. His team's legal approach denies and minimizes his responsibility. They insist Harrison had no idea the human trafficking network beneath his pawn shop was that large. Harrison's defense counsel claimed he was a pawn in a broader criminal scheme and unaware of the underground jail. Harrison's unintentional membership in the trafficking group is the defense's main point. They claim he ran his business like everyone else, ignorant that it had become a criminal hotbed. Harrison's defenders argue that there is no concrete proof tying him to the trafficking ring's worst crimes. The FBI found financial transactions in a pawn shop, but they say stolen things might be sold without his approval or knowledge. These arguments fail to persuade the prosecution. The evidence is strong that Harrison deliberately enabled the selling of minors through his pawn store. The prosecution presents FBI financial and communication data, including Harrison's payments from trafficking network members. The prosecution said Harrison used his pawn shop to launder money for criminal groups by selling stolen antiques and other unlawful items. Evidence against Harrison is compelling. In addition to financial records, the FBI found a large amount of digital evidence, emails, phone call data, and surveillance footage showing that Harrison had direct contact with organized crime figures and helped traffic antiques, which funded the human trafficking ring. Several captives rescued from the underground jail and former traffickers testified for the prosecution. These witnesses say Harrison was aware of what was happening and actively moved youngsters through his business. Harrison denies guilt despite overwhelming proof. He claims he was unaware of the trafficking operation's full scope and is a victim of a complicated criminal conspiracy. His legal team claims Harrison is a reputable businessman who built his fortune legally and was duped by others. They further allege that the government misused its power by prosecuting him with such serious offenses, and that the proof for trafficking and money laundering is insufficient. The media frenzy grows as the trial approaches. Public opinion is split. Harrison may have been a pawn in a wider game he was unaware of. Others are appalled that a celebrity could commit such horrific atrocities. Reporters camp outside the courtroom, seeking updates on the trial. A phenomenon. The trial affects the pawn shop business beyond Harrison's personal life. The affair revealed severe regulatory shortcomings in pawn shops, prompting calls for stronger regulation. To prevent pawn shops like Harrison's from concealing crime, lawmakers have sought stricter rules. Many worry whether the pawn sector, which handles significant sums of cash and expensive products, is appropriately regulated. Rick Harrison's startling shift from pawn star to murderer. Rick Harrison, the bright, quick-witted, and personable father figure of Pawn Stars, a successful reality TV program with millions of viewers, was well known. Harrison made his fortune by purchasing and selling antiques, promising amazing history stories and fantastic deals. His flannel clothing, spectacles, and laid-back manner earned him widespread trust. Each individual in a world of stars seemed to live in a distinct cosmos. People adored him because he was humble. Rick Harrison had a surprising side beneath his lovely face and smart business judgments, a darkness that will ruin everything he constructed. People 10 years ago would have told you that Rick Harrison was the pinnacle of success, the American dream, a diligent worker who rose to the top. Pawn Stars was his professional peak. The show made his Las Vegas pawn store famous worldwide. A TV celebrity, businessman, and reality TV's face for years. He had all: money, celebrity, and an unbreakable reputation. We now know that reputation was a skillfully crafted mirage. Behind this reality TV star's facade were lies, crimes, and treachery. The terrible fact that shattered Rick Harrison's life was unexpected. When a prominent figure who has always been honest and transparent is found harboring the darkest secrets, what happens? This article explores Rick Harrison's extraordinary climb and tragic collapse. We will examine how his quick ascent to popularity was fueled by savvy business dealings, a love of history, manipulation, deception, and murder. Yes, you heard right, murder. Harrison, who made millions negotiating public agreements, is suspected of murdering a critical witness who may reveal Harrison's unlawful dealings. Not only a business or personal dispute. The empire he spent years developing needed protection. Anyone who threatened to topple it had to be silenced. Harrison apparently went to great measures to hide his criminal record. Not just that, Harrison confessed to something more scarier at trial, shocking the world. A lady paid $100. This terrifying comment aroused numerous doubts about the supposedly in-control man. What type of Family Guy, a celebrity admired by millions, hides such terrible secrets? As the truth emerged, Rick Harrison's fans were shocked. The man they trusted hid a seedy history. As the inquiry progressed, more was found. Harrison was more than a businessman. So determined to safeguard his business, He breached barriers most could never comprehend. He made up a narrative. His reputation and riches were built on this story. However, he had engaged in deals that may lead him to a worse place than expected. This tale is about more than a pawn shop magnate. Power, celebrity, and money may corrupt even the most innocent lives. It's about how a guy gained millions of followers on national television, then betrayed all they knew about him. Rick Harrison's ascension and horrific murder allegations will be covered in the future chapters, and confession that destroyed his world. We will examine how he exploited the system, disguised his crimes, and utilized reality TV stardom to avoid punishment. This isn't only Rick Harrison's collapse, it tells how his kingdom once ideal was founded on falsehoods. When the reality was revealed, it was darker than expected. We will reveal Rick Harrison's astonishing metamorphosis from a popular TV personality to a criminal genius through court records, insider interviews, and a thorough dive into the timeline. Join us as we unveil the secret story of the pawn shop empire and the guy who had everything until it collapsed.